Good morning, early birds. How are you? This is Dr. Annette Feravich yelling across the entire neighborhood for you. I know. Why? Because my voice really does project. It does. And that's good. Look at how beautiful it is. Here, let's just take down our little early bird PowerPoint there. And look, I'm outside. It's so wonderful in Michigan. Michigan, we have, look at, welcome to my backyard, early birds. I'm going to let you see some of the things. You got to see a little bit of the things, although, sometimes it doesn't look as pretty as I think it does, but I do think it looks nice. Look, I ended up putting up, see, I had those pans there to hold that down, and now I put that scarf there. And look at this. This is literally lettuce that I'm growing right here. Look, watch. Yes, I did. I just ate it off my plant. I know. And let me tell you something. More flavor on those 3 leaves than you'll find in the store on lettuce. I don't even know what's going on with our food. Eat an egg. Doesn't taste like an egg at all. It just tastes like, I don't even know. The last egg I had tasted like butter. The butter that they had in the pan. That's it. What are they doing? They finally got good color to their genetic engineered plants. Their GMO plants, right? Because remember when they put the strawberries in the stores that were all white? And then they were like, hey, eat these white strawberries. And everyone's like, yeah, I don't think so. And now all they did is take those white strawberries, I think, and put color into them, and nobody's getting any nutrient value out of this. But that's why I am all about healthy mind, body, and spirit. And that's what this classroom really is about. It really is about making sure that I'm really dry this morning. Making sure that everything that we're learning helps with our mind, with our body, and I have to say, especially with our spirit. And why especially with our spirit? Because our spirits really are dragging. That's the reason why. They are dragging. Our spirits are like, okay, I'll catch up. I'm tired today. I don't even know what to do today. And so that's one of the reasons why I'm here to help build your spirit. Because if you build your spirit, you can build your mind and your body. I've got that, I've got my umbrella up. Isn't that pretty? And the lights actually do work. And there's a solar panel on the lights. They're a little bit temperamental, but they still really do work. But I got some lighting issues here because I'm all dark over here. That's where I'm dark, not here, there. Yeah, of course I would be dark there because I'm closer here. So we're going to have to deal with that because I tried to turn the umbrella yesterday and I couldn't turn the umbrella. Okay, so let's get started. What do we have today? Well, all kinds of things. As you know, I took yesterday off, early birds. And why did I take yesterday off? I told you I was going book shopping, and I did. I did not find my National Geographics. I want to find a whole bunch, like some elderly person who's cleaning out their basement, who's got a 60, 70, 100-year collection of National Geographics. I'm looking for them. Okay? All right. But in the meantime, I found a lot of other things. My very first chapter book, Charlotte's Web. We're going to read this in the reading room. I promised a different book, and I was going to switch again, and I'm like, Dr. Annette, stop switching around. Keep your mind on one thing for just a little while. You promised everybody that book. You haven't read it. You read Charlotte's Web before. So that's coming up next, Charlotte's Web. And, by the way, I was like, yeah, let's read it. But, well, I'm not going to tell you. No spoiler alerts. Charlotte, though, was my mother's name. So I love this book. That's my mom's name. I love that name. And this is what we're going to be reading next. Look, it's in perfect condition. It almost looks like the one that I had, but I can't find it. I don't know. Looks like mine, though. Just in near perfect condition. Today, we are going to be reading We're going to start reading Handling Your Ups and Downs. So this is the book I got. This is the book I got from the library, right? So you remember I told you I got 46 books, or no, over 100 books for $46, right? This is by Joy Wilt, and the illustrations are by, it says Hergy there. You know, I didn't bring my glasses out. The one thing, I'm surrounded by books, but I didn't bring my glasses out, which I'm going to need to read. But we're reading this book, and the reason why we're going to read this book is, well, I'm going to tell you in a minute. This is what we're going to. This is where we're working to. But right now, I found this book. So there's a whole bunch of these, which are, that I got from, so yesterday, our subdivision had a subdivision yard sale. Not a lot going on there, which is very suspicious to me. But I've been suspicious about the neighborhood for about a year now. Not forever, but for about a year now. So look at all of these, and they're in beautiful condition, just as if somebody knew I was coming out looking for these books. Look at these. So best in children's books, and their stories. And one of these stories I've already picked out to read for the Bookless classroom. And that is going to be Paul Revere's Ride. And look at these. Sometimes it's just, I found the opening covers just really interesting, like that, right? So different colors and all these different stories that they have. All the stories are listed. So this is a wonderful series that they had out there for kids, obviously, or apparently. And here's another one, even. So look at that. Isn't that awesome? So I've got and I have more of these as well. So this is something I found in a box. I got 17 books for $12. So I was very happy. Charlotte's Web was part of that as well. 18 books, because Charlotte's Web was number 18 that I threw in there. So 18 books for $12. I was so happy with that. Then there were in the box classics that were hardcovers. It seems like these are a series that they put out for kids at school so that you could buy like these books to study from, and they're inexpensive. Like the publisher will just put out the classics and bind them. But they don't do that. I don't know if they do that so much anymore like this, but it's wonderful because this book actually was published in, I think one of them said 1956. So I just think that that's cool that they're older books, right? Look at that. This is The Adventures of Tom Sawyer. We read Mark Twain in our last reading room, if you were there. And so this is, so if you read Mark Twain, he is really wonderful. It's hard to read him. I find it's hard to read him because he uses where he's coming from a lot of times, which is Tennessee, and he uses that vernacular. He sounds like them when he writes. Isn't that amazing that you can write and sound like somebody, like y'all? Now I could write Y''ALL. Did you know that? Y'all, right? So now I sound like I come from the South, right? That's how he writes. He knows how to write like y'all. He could spell y'all. That's what he could do. He could spell y'all. And look at, I have a whole bunch of other classics. Heidi. Charles Dickens' A Tale of Two Cities. I don't even know. I mean, I've heard of it. Look at this. Rin Tin Tin series. All hardcover books that I got. Today in our Bookless classroom, we are going to be looking at we're going to be looking at it because what do we look at? Words? No, we're going to be reading. We're going to be reading The Mostly True Adventures of Homer P. Figg. This is by a best-selling author who wrote Freak the Night. I don't know. So I had some red flags. But also Confederate flags. Why? Because this is a story around the Civil War period. So I thought that was really good for us in our Bookless classroom, where as we move up to Civil War. So Rodman Philbrick, and this is a scholastic. Isn't that what that is? No, it's not. Oh, I can't remember. It is a Newburgh. Isn't that what they were? Newberry. Newberry book. That's right. I remember that. So if you got this Newberry sticker, it was good for kids to read. So we've got this Newberry sticker on there. I've got a Newberry sticker on a brand new book that I'm so really going to have to call the United States Post Office about, because they left it outside my garage underneath cardboard garbage, and it was in a cardboard package. Thank you, United States Postal Service, and thank you, DeJoy, for making sure that our postal service needs to almost nearly go to be privatized, because you guys want to screw everything up that's been around here since when? Well, we're going to be reading about that pretty soon, too, in our Bookless classroom. Since when has it been around, our United States Post Office, that you seem to be screwing around with? Putting my beautiful new book outside, and it was left outside there for days, because it was underneath a cardboard box that was going out. And the only reason why is because I took that cardboard box out to the garbage, picked up this, went to throw it away thinking it was part of the cardboard box, and it was my book. How long was it out there in that weather, this book that you don't seem to care about? That said, you knew it was a book because on the package it said books. You could have walked to the front door where people look for packages. Lazy, lazy, lazy. So here's a brand new book that I got, right? And when we start talking about slavery, I'm going to take a look at this. But this is, look at this, a true story from the Underground Railroad. Henry's Freedom book. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited to read that. But I'll read it the first time to you. But I was asking you a question. How did this mail service all start? And how is it that this mail service has gotten so terrible that somebody leaves a package out there underneath a cardboard box? Sorry if my butt was right in there. We'll try to do that differently. Since when? Since when? Since the Pony Express. Since the Pony Express that we've been depending on mail services. So don't screw it up, DeJoy. Okay. Now, after all of that, and I'm not done. Because one last thing. Because I get you ready for all kinds of things in this classroom, like the Bookless classroom, right? And to read more and to be interested in reading. And that's really what is so key with our early bird classroom, being interested in reading. And look, here's the rest of them. Look at that. There's the rest of them. So there's a couple more books here that are part of the series of Best in Children's Books, right? These have to be, these two are good, but I just have to need to tidy those up. But look at how perfect all these other ones are, right? Right from the yard sale or from the garage sales that we had in the neighborhood. They are just in perfect condition. These two, not quite so perfect, but that's likely because the stories in here are good stories, and they likely did read these books a lot, right? This has got Black Beauty in it. This one's got Mother Goose nursery rhymes in it, which I always loved growing up. And then there's also, in this other one, it's got Lassie Comes Home, The Story of William Tell, so Rumpelstiltskin, The Three Little Pigs. So all kinds of stories that you are so familiar with, right? So I'm so excited about those books. But then also, again, more hardcover classics. So Black Beauty, Robinson Crusoe, 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, Alice in Wonderland, The Little Prince, is that what it is? I think so. The Little Lame Prince, and then Hans Brinker. I don't even know what that is. Those two last two, but obviously classics. And let me show you one more thing that I got too, to kind of give you some things to look forward to. I'm going to show you one more thing. And see how excited you could get by books? I also, in there, they also had this, which is about a 4th grade level for writing and grammar. I was so happy this hardcover book was in there too, because this is going to help me teach you guys as we keep going along. So, to help us write, because isn't that what I'm saying? That we need to know all of these grammar rules so that we can communicate. So, this was part of the package too. So, see, you could pay, and then I paid $12 for that. See how excited I got for $12? Oh my gosh. I know. Why are our phones so expensive? I have no idea. Since in China, they're not. I'm sure Lucy is inside because I blocked the way so she can't go downstairs. Down the stairs. Okay, what are we doing today in our classroom? What are we doing today now that we're half done? No, it's important for you to get excited about reading is what it's important for us. So today we are reading the book, which is Handling Your Ups and Downs. Why are we going to be talking about this? This series. Well, this is we're reading the book, but it's a little series on handling your ups and downs. Now, why are we talking about this? Okay, so where we were, what were we talking about? We were talking about Moses, right? So we were talking about Moses, and we were talking about rules and the 10 Commandments. And I said to you on Tuesday, now it was a few days ago, we were talking about how I know that kids are what big people we call rule oriented. Big people like me who are in teachers in psychology, we call it rule oriented. What does that mean? It means you like rules. You like rules. Why do you like rules? Because remember, we did talk about this. I'm looking at the sky because I really want to bring that umbrella down. But I know it's going to get burning hot, and then I keep my plants protected. Why do kids like rules? I'm looking at the rest of my plants. Those little ones are really having a difficult time right there. Right there. I got to turn off that. But you know what? That's because I'm not really sure about how much sun they get, but those are sunflowers. So I'm really trying to protect them a lot and help them along. See the plants underneath there? They're doing pretty well. But those sunflowers, I don't know why they're not doing very well. All right, so that gave you time to think about the answer to my question. So why are kids rule oriented? Why do you care about rules? Because you want to know right and wrong. That's what you want to know. Why do you want to know right and wrong? I mean, rules tell us right and wrong. Why do kids in particular want to know right and wrong? Why do they want to know that? What do you think? Because they want to know when they're being good or bad. Right? We're just going to use just kid language right now. Kids want to know when they're being good, and they want to know when they're being bad. And they especially want to know when they're being good, right? They don't necessarily want to know when they're being bad, but they know when they're being bad that they're not good. And they want to be good, right? We are driven to have people tell us that we are good people. That we're just driven to be told we're good. And we know inside our own hearts, even when somebody doesn't tell us we're being good, we know inside our own hearts we're being good if we have rules. We know when we're following the rules, and we know when we're not following the rules. And so this helps us feel good. And don't let anybody tell you that we don't care about right and wrong, because it is absolutely written in our hearts. And we know it's written in our hearts because at very young ages, we're driven to follow the rules. We want to follow the rules. We want our moms and dads and our teachers and our aunts and uncles and our friends to tell us that we're smart and we're nice and we're funny and we are pretty and we're athletic and we're strong, right? We want, and we work hard, and we're honest, and we're fair, and we're just, and we're trustworthy, and we're wise. We want people to tell us that, right? It makes us feel good. That's the way that we are all made. Every one of us is made to hear somebody tell us we're doing a good job. And we know we're made that way because we want it from a very, very, very young age. Even as babies want it. How do babies want it? Babies want it. How do you think babies want to be told that they're good? How do you think that babies want to be told that they are good? I think they're told that they are good when their mama cuddles with them. I think that they're told that they are good when their mama kisses them or someone kisses them, right? I think that they are told, and they like that. That's the reason why some people could take advantage of kids, because they could be really nice to kids, and then they could end up hurting kids sometimes, right? Because kids like people who are nice to them and tell them that they are good and tell them that they are smart. We all do. We're all made that way inside of our hearts. And so I'm talking about what are the rules? What are the rules so that we can, just like young people, the youngest people, they want to know, are they being good? Are they being good, right? Okay, so that's why we're starting with the rules. And that's the reason why I wanted to talk about handling your ups and downs, because this is a book. I think I told you that no, actually, did I say I got this from the library stuff? I did not. I've had this for years and years. It's a series of books that I have from Joy Wilt about all kinds of little things that kids go through. Not little things, big things. Handling ups and downs, that's big things. All kinds of things that kids go through, and there are books on that. So Joy Wilt, she wrote about this stuff. And so this is why I wanted to start this book, was because we were talking about the rules and the 10 Commandments, right? That's what we were talking about. And then I started thinking, well, we've had a lot of Bible stories, and it's really good because Bible stories help us know what's good. They also help our spirits a lot. They help us feel better about things. They really do. Because people in the Bible make mistakes. And so when we see somebody in the Bible make a mistake, it makes us feel like we're not the only one who makes mistakes. And then it teaches us how to get out of those problems, how to get out of those mistakes. So that's why the Bible really does help us a lot. I have to look at what time it is there. So it helps us a lot. And then I thought, well, you know what I'm going to do, though? I'm going to stop on the rules, and we're going to talk about the rules for a while. And then, so we're going to talk about the rules. But when you look at the Bible rules there, right, when we look at the Bible rules, we have got to talk about our tip number 7. When you look at the Bible rules, they really are kind of long if you take a look at them, and they're kind of hard to understand. And so I thought it's important for us to know the 10 Commandments. It is very important for us to know the 10 Commandments. But it's hard for us to understand them as rules. They do get to be kind of long. And so I was thinking, how am I going to teach you about rules, but not necessarily have it be so long like the 10 Commandments for this age group, for the early bird classroom? How could I do that? And so I decided that I would stop on these rules and we would look at them, even though they're big and long. We're going to take a look at them, right? And then we're going to talk about it from a kid's perspective, all right? From looking at it from young people. How do young people learn about those 10 Commandments? How do young people understand those 10 Commandments? So that's what I'm doing, okay? So let's take a look. Let's go back one and take a look at our tip for today, right? Our tip for today, tip number 7 is, no, that's not it. I think what I did was I saved it and then redid it and saved it again and didn't put out the new one. All right, so just give me a second and watch this. It's going to change right before your eyeballs, which is like so amazing to me. Watch this. So I think it might change right before your eyeballs. Let's see. Oh, I didn't have it up there. So it couldn't have changed before your eyeballs. All right, very good. Very good, as in, I wish it changed before your eyeballs, but holy smokes, I really love that. As soon as I make the change over there, it changes automatically on my screen. Tip number 7, keep a grammar notebook. Keep a grammar notebook. And I didn't bring down, and I really should get it so I could read it to you. The idea here is, actually, I don't need to read it to you. The idea is that you make common mistakes. Common to you, right? You make mistakes in your grammar that are common to you. You tend to make the same mistakes in your grammar over and over again, just like I do, right? I make certain mistakes in my grammar over and over again. I used to always say lackadaisical. It's not lackadaisical, it's lackadaisical is what it is, which I don't understand when you say lax. It should be lackadaisical. Are you being lax? But it's lackadaisical, right? So lackadaisical would be something I would write down because I made that mistake. Another one that I still don't know the difference between is when you use lay and lie. The rule for me was you never use lie to mean lay. That was my rule, right? But lie can mean to lie down. Go lie down. Is it go lie down? Go lay down. I don't know. I don't know. Go lie down. I hear everyone say go lie down. Is that the right way to say it? So keep a grammar notebook. That is something that I would write in my grammar notebook. And I would put that in my grammar notebook because they're all of a sudden I'm getting an automatic update here, which I never get. I don't allow an automatic update. And they're like, give me your password. Seriously? Stop, you nonsense. Right online even. Stop it. Yeah, and you know, all of a sudden all my Bookless classrooms on YouTube went to unlisted. How'd that happen? How could all my Bookless classrooms that have been up there go to unlisted? How does that happen? How does that happen? I don't even know what's going on. But what's going on here is keep a grammar notebook. So when you've got problems, whatever it is, maybe you've got problems with there, and there. It's over there. This is their book. They're going to the store. 3 different theirs. Maybe you have problems with there, and there. Keep a grammar notebook. And then this way, you can remember your problems. And even by writing those down, even by taking the time to write them down, you'll probably already remember it better just because you wrote it down, right? We've talked about that before. Okay, let's get moving before we run out of time. So here are the 10 commandments. And what I wanted to show you those 10 commandments for was because... Let me get my classroom up here so I can see them too. Or what did I do? Just close it? Maybe. Okay. So one of the things that maybe you might think about doing when you're learning these 10 commandments is actually memorizing the 10 commandments. Think about memorizing the 10 commandments. It's always a good idea to practice memorizing things. Remember, we memorize our alphabet, right? We memorized our vowels, and we memorize the rules that go along with those, like when 2 vowels go walking, the first one does the talking, right? And so we remember and memorize things a lot. We have to memorize things a lot. But that being said, sometimes it's not easy. And sometimes we have to make a choice to memorize things, right? Actually, we all the time have to make a choice to memorize things. But sometimes we have to memorize things for school. We have to know our alphabet, right? We have to know we have to know our vowels. We have to know what a long vowel says, its own name, and what a short vowel says, a, right? We have to know that, and we want to memorize those things. And in school, they don't teach you to memorize your short vowels, right? But it's a great idea. A-E-I-O-U, we know the long vowels, Those are our short vowels. It really does help our brain actually grow. It really grows. It grows in connections. It grows in neurons. Our brain really grows when we memorize things. So let's try and, that just goes right along with my tree there, doesn't it? It looks like it blends right in with my tree. Let's go ahead and look at those a little bit more closely. Now, what I've learned since I'm presenting these 10 commandments is that the first 4 commandments are about our relationship with God. Now, I teach all kinds of things, as you know, right? And I teach about getting your mind healthy, your body healthy, and your spirit healthy. And part of a healthy spirit really is learning and understanding that there are all kinds of things beyond us. All kinds of things beyond us. Some things that we can see and not understand. Some things that we can't see and we understand or don't understand, right? We can't see the wind. Is there any wind right now, right? We can't see. Let's turn this off. And we can kind of look, are there trees moving? So is there no wind? Does wind not exist right now at all? We see no trees moving. I see the water moving, right? So there are all kinds of things, chop off my head, that we can see, that we can't see, but we know exist. We know it. We know the wind is still there, right? Nobody has to tell us that the wind isn't there any longer. So there are all kinds of things that we don't see that we still believe in. We don't see bacteria, right? Unless we're under a microscope, but I'm not walking around noticing bacteria or viruses, right? Or viruses, but we know that they exist. So how many things do you believe in that you can't see, but you know are really there? Well, for me, I really do believe in a higher power. I have, names for my higher power, right? So God, Yahweh, Jehovah, Yahweh, all kinds of names, right? Lord, right? So Father, Abba, all kinds of names for my higher power, who I believe is my higher power. But what I know is important, is that you have to know that there are things out there that you don't see and that you don't understand. It is that way. If you know that there are things out there that you can't see and that you don't fully understand, it helps you to be okay with things that you don't know. It helps you be okay with not knowing everything. You can't know everything. And then maybe you won't go down and always be searching for the thing so you could know everything about it. You're supposed to know so much to help you do something, to help you make magic here on the planet. That's what you're supposed to know. You're supposed to know things to help make wonderful things on this planet work and be helpful and make it better and cooperate. That's what we're supposed to be doing, right? That's what we're supposed to be doing, making things, using all of that to make things better. And sometimes we need help. Lots of times we need help doing that, right? To make things better. And so if we need help making things better, sometimes we call up our friend. Sometimes we call up our mom or sit down and talk to our mom. Sometimes we go into our bedroom and we talk to our brothers and sisters about it. Sometimes we go into our bedrooms and we just think about the problem, right? But sometimes we have no answers to the problem. We don't know where to go and there's nobody around, right? And I find that too. Of course I find that. That's the reason why I believe in something that's bigger than me. Why do I believe in something that's bigger than me? Because that something that's bigger than me, first of all, created me. So that creator knows me, right? And that creator loves me. And that creator wants to help me. And I like to believe that. I like to believe it. And not only do I like to believe it, I don't think I like to believe it and pretend. I like to believe it because I've studied it and it's very real. Not pretend. It's not like my Disney shirt, right? My Disney character. Pretend. It's like really me. It's like really me. It's like really him. It's like really him. And so if I know his rules, that helps me because he made me feel better. He knows how to make me feel better. And makes me feel good, especially when I'm young. It makes me feel good to follow the rules. It just is that way. We're just made that way. Follow a rule. Like don't eat cookies before dinner. If your mom and dad says you can't have any of those snacks before dinner. And then you could sneak one. And then you don't sneak one. And see how it makes you feel. Or tell your mom that you were going to sneak one and you didn't. And see how it makes her feel. Or your babysitter. Or your teacher. See how it makes them feel. See how it makes you feel to follow the rule. And then tell somebody you followed the rule. Not to be bragging. You don't have to be bragging. Just say, hey, I'm doing an experiment in my own mind. And I followed the rules. This is what I did. And I wanted to tell you about that and see if what your teacher says. Don't tell it to a mean teacher, though. They won't care. Tell it to a nice teacher. There should be plenty out there. I hope. So, in these 10 commandments, in these rules, the first 4 rules are about believing in God. They're about believing in God and how you show God that you believe in him. There's lots of people that tell you that there is no God. I know that there is. But you have to sort of find out what you know and believe yourself. So I learned about the 10 Commandments really when I was very, very young. And I think it's important that you learn about them when you're young too. I do. So you might want to ask your parents about them. Maybe you ask your parents or ask a teacher about them, right? The teacher probably can't tell you about the 10 Commandments, maybe a regular teacher, but there's somebody who could talk to you about the 10 Commandments. You could find out, or you can always email me if you want to know more about the 10 Commandments. If you've got a question about the 10 Commandments, I can always answer your questions about them too. You can email me at, I'm sure you know how to use email, Dr. Dr. Feravich, F as in Frank, ERA, V as in Victor, ICH, at healthymindbodyspirit.net. Email me your questions if you've got questions about the 10 Commandments, or about, if you want to email me, you can ask me a question about God too. Your parents might want to help you about that, because I don't really want to tell you something about God that your parents don't want you to hear from somebody else, right? So wrong one. So talk to your parents about that, okay? But I can tell you what I know, and if they're okay with telling you what I know about the 10 Commandments, you can email me and ask me questions about those too. So the first 4 of the 10 Commandments are all about making sure that you know God, that you know who God is, and that you learn who God is. That's what the first 4 commandments are. But the last 6 commandments are about how we treat one another. So let's just take a really quick look at those commandments about how we treat one another. So starting with commandment number 5. Honor your, and it's actually, I think it says verse 19 there is what I think it says there. But that is commandment number 5. Honor your father and your mother so that you may live long in the land of the Lord your God is giving you, so that you can live long in that land. What that's saying is those kids who listen to their mom and dad live a long life. When I tell you not to run with scissors, the kid who runs with scissors all the time might end up getting stabbed and not live a long life. If you don't listen to your parents about running out in the middle of the road when there's traffic, you might not live a long life. If you aren't careful with climbing up the ladders, climbing them up when you're too young, you might not live a long life. Honor your father and your mother because they will help protect you so that you can live a long life. And that's true. That's true. That's a good rule to listen to. Let's take a look at the next rule that's there. The next rule is you shall not murder. You shall not murder. And they didn't use the word you shall not kill, because sometimes we might kill, like, for example, a spider. That's not murder, right? Murder is somebody that you want to kill, right? You want to kill that person. That's murder. So the rule is you shall not murder. You shall not commit adultery. Adultery is when you get married, you have to make sure that you are staying with that person. That's what adultery is. When you're married, the rule is stay with that person, because if you don't stay with that person and you go off with somebody else, that hurts the other person. It hurts the person you go off with. It hurts your kids. It hurts a lot of people. So that's why that's a rule. Because if you don't do that, if you go off into other marriages, right, that hurts a lot of people. So that's why that is a rule. That's what that means. You shall not go off when you're married with other people. You shall, and that's a good rule because it hurts a lot of people. It's not like you can't do it, right? People do it, but it just hurts. So that's why it's a rule. You shall not steal. You shouldn't take some things that don't belong to you. That's a pretty good rule, because when you take things that don't belong to you, that hurts other people. They paid for that. That's their money, right? So you didn't work for that. So that's a good rule too. You shall not give false testimony against your neighbor. You know what that is? You know what that rule is? That rule is don't lie. Don't give false testimony against your neighbor. Who's my neighbor? Everybody's your neighbor. Anybody you come in contact with is your neighbor, according to the Bible, all right? So it means you're not supposed to lie. That's what that means. You're not supposed to lie. That's a pretty good rule, don't you think? That's a good rule. Don't lie. How do I get a good job if I'm lying all the time? How does he have a good employer? He or she have a good employee, rather, if I'm lying all the time. And then the last one, you shall not covet your neighbor's house. You shall not covet your neighbor's wife, or his male or female servant, his ox or donkey, or anything that belongs to your neighbor. That means, what does that mean? You can't be looking at your neighbor's things and going, oh my gosh, I wish I had, right? You can't be looking at your neighbor's things and going, if only I lived on a lake like Dr. Feravich did, right? Dr. Annette did. If only I had chairs on the beach like her neighbors did, right? If only I had a big yard like that, then I would be able to play. That's what that's about. God wants you to appreciate the things that you have and thank him for the things that you have. And then over time, you get those things. You don't have everything at once. People want everything at once, right? You want your phone when you're 4 years old, right? You want to have all your apps when you're 5. You want to be a millionaire when you're 6 years old, right? And you want to be famous by that time as well. We don't get everything that we want. And we have to kind of be used to not getting everything that we want. And it can't make us mad When we look at other people and go, oh, how come they have that? Why does she have that new bike? Why do they get a puppy and I don't have a puppy? I'm so tired of my dog. I want a puppy now. That's against that last commandment. That's against that last commandment. You can't go around wishing and wanting for things that you don't have. Why? Because you're not grateful. And what does that do to your spirit? There are all kinds of things that we don't have. All kinds of things. Are we going to be running around all day wishing that we had all the things we don't have? I don't have a newer home. My furniture is getting outdated. I don't have a house cleaner and I could really use one, right? There are all kinds of things. I need to repair this deck. I can't find good help for my lawn. There are all kinds of things that I would like. But we can't run around going, I want, because it makes us mad. And what does that do to our spirits? It makes our spirits sad, is what it does. It makes our spirits sad. Okay, we are late. It's 8:50, and I have got to get going because I'm here at 9:15 for our Bookless classroom. And what are we doing in our Bookless classroom? Talking about Andrew Jackson. All right, so I might be 5 minutes late because I got a few things that I got to get ready for our Bookless classroom, but we'll be back outside again, and you can enjoy this wonderful weather. We will be back here. We did not get to our book, Handling Your Ups and Downs, but we did talk about it. When we get to this book, we are going to be reading it together, as I've said, because it's an easy book to read. All right, that's all I have. This is Dr. Annette. Thanks for joining me in this early bird classroom. I will see you back here on Tuesday. Thanks for joining.